top-notcher siya. Ang pinili niya, hindi mga iba-ibang corporations, kundi Nina. Paniniwala siya sa gold.
$900 million worth of money that should have gone to fight poverty in the Philippines.
Are you saying that if the government pursues selling your jewelries, you will seek legal recourse to that action?
I'll go to the International Court of Justice. Yes, because...
What do you know?
Because I will be fighting for my people. This is beauty that I got for the Filipino people. This is not for me.
How much is $240 million? Oh my goodness. Is it million? Billion?
Billion.
Billion? 240 billion?
Only one shipment. And these are plenty of shipments. Sabi niya, forget the money. We want our independence. True enough. Kung nagka-independence kami ng 46 na hindi tayo binigyan ng veterans. Mula nun, makikita, meron akong mga dokumento, he started trading on gold. When he had about 6,000, 7,000 tons, he entered politics.
7,000 tons?
Yes, I have the documents.
7,000 tons in the basement of your house in...
Something like that.
Eh di, nahulog na yung bahay niya sa weight of that.
Hindi, the basement na lupa na yun eh.
Don't look this thing. That's the king of Saudi Arabia.
Saudi Arabia, Mountbatten.
Wow, she's got the photos of her.
Castro.
Pick it up. Castro with Imelda. Look at that. Help me.
I'm sorry, hello.
49,000. Wow. Ear clip mountings, 1,700.
Maybe about 10 years, they haven't found anything.
What do you mean they haven't found anything?
They haven't proven anything. Maybe waiting for a golden age, for the right time.
To break into the world.
It wasn't just me. There's a group of World Bank whistleblowers. There's one of us from the United Kingdom. There's one of us from Mexico. There's one of us from India. There's one of us from Ethiopia. And we're all reporting the same thing. Corruption from top to bottom of that institution. The money's going every which way but where it needs to go to fight poverty.
They can't locate where it's from or what's missing because they can't locate anything missing.
And my story is about trying to uncover the cover-up. The cover-up went all the way to Congress, and then it went to 188 ministers of finance. So this is corruption in the entire world. And until it's set straight, what we're going to have is we're going to have a currency war. Yeah, there was a very accurate report on this from the Federal Institute of Technology in Zurich, Switzerland. 3 mathematicians looked at accurate corporate data on 43,000 transnational companies, and they reported that through very clever interlocking corporate directors, these groups managed to grab 10 times the power than they otherwise had in their finances. So they own 40% of the assets of all of the companies traded on the capital markets of the world, and they own 60% of the earnings for every year. This means that the central banks for the world are issuing paper money with absolutely no accountability to the people who are using this money. And pretty soon, in a matter of weeks probably, the whole system is going to come to a screeching halt with something called gold backwardation. That the corporate media, 70% of the Americans in a recent Gallup poll distrust their media because it's owned by these banks. These institutions are one big conglomerate that think they control the world, and they think they're above the law, and they're not. They are sitting on top of the world's wealth, which was put into a secret account, and it has more gold than anybody knows about. And it is cloaked in secrecy. The bankers do not own that money. It's held in benefit for humanity. The World Bank and the IMF are listed on a special agreement that was signed in 1950 about that. It's over 1 million metric tons of gold. And the World Bank and the IMF have a special role to play, making sure that that money is spent to the benefit of humanity.
So where's the gold?
400,000 metric tons are in the Central Bank of the Philippines. There's over 200,000 metric tons in Union Bank of Switzerland, and some of that gold is buried securely in the Philippines as well. Some of it is held in various banks, but the bulk of it is in the Philippines.
So the World Bank holds the note on that gold?
No, it is in a special trust account that was set up by Ferdinand Marcos and the authorized signatories.
So how do the people get the gold back? If it's their gold and it was taken by these bankers, how do we receive it?
That is the question. And they're just sitting there illegally and refusing to relinquish it. Part of the problem is that this gold is cloaked in secrecy. But in the last month, Wolfgang Struck has been publishing all of the documentation. So it's there for people to see. We have the originals, and people just have to make sure that the banks do what they're required to do, which is release the world's wealth.
Gold for gold, dollar for dollar, this country, the Maharlika, is the richest country in the world. During a talk show in American TV, the week following the 9/11 bombing of the New York Twin Towers on September 11, 2001, President Bush asked this question. Which is the richest country in the world today? With a smile he said, the Philippines. On April 9, 1973, Marcos said, "My earthly goods have been placed in the custody and for the disposition of the Marcos Foundation, dedicated to the welfare of the Filipino people."
This will save the world.
The world.
The world. This is the reason why I want to survive.
Mrs. Marcos, are you saying you're open to giving some or an amount of this one to the country, to the Filipinos?
Not only the Philippines, but the world.
I can tell you this, that we never spent government funds for our personal purposes. If we did, we replaced them immediately. I may have committed many sins in my life, but stealing money from the people and from the government is not one of them.
Throughout the Spanish occupation of the Maharlika, members of the Taji and Tolano clan have been visiting Europe, since some of their relatives were English and Austrian. From 1866 to 1898, Prince Julian MacLeod Tolano RK, who became titleholder of Oct 0124 in 1864, had also been frequenting the Vatican. In 1934, under Pope Pius XII, the Vatican negotiated with a member of the Filipino royal family, the Christian Tolano clan in the Maharlika. An agreement was reached that 640,000 metric tons of the Tolano gold would be lent to the Pope. This was part of that gold accumulated by the Southeast Asian Srivijayan Majapahit Empire during its glorious reign of 900 years. In 1939, two members of the Tolano family and a Roman Catholic priest, Father Jose Antonio Diaz, brought the gold from Kota Kinabalu, Sabah, to the Vatican.
After doing this, Father Diaz went back to the Maharlika and resided in Cabanatuan City. After World War II, he facilitated the safe return of the 640,000 metric tons of gold from the Vatican to the Maharlika. Manuel Acuna Rojas, former president of the Philippines, a relative of the Acuna Taji and Tolano clan, then a congressman, and Bishop Enrique Sabrepana Sr., in the presence of attorney Lorenzo Tanata, received the gold in Manila. Having gained the trust and confidence of Father Diaz, the Tolano clan made him the main negotiator and trustee of their gold. Father Diaz, in turn, hired the services of attorney Ferdinand E. Marcos, then a highly recommended brilliant young lawyer, having attained notoriety when he successfully defended himself in the Nalundasan case in 1939. The Tolano clan paid commission to Father Diaz and attorney Marcos in gold, 30% from the principal of 640,000 metric tons. In 1949, the two richest men in the world were Father Jose Antonio Diaz and attorney Ferdinand E. Marcos. Between the two of them they legitimately earned and owned 192,000 metric tons of gold. Ferdinand Marcos withdrew their share of the gold from the central bank and minted at RPCB. Sometime later, Father Diaz and Marcos brought their gold to Switzerland, in the Swiss Bank Corporation in Zurich. The remaining 400,000 metric tons of Tolano gold is in the third-floor basement of the central bank minting plant, in East Avenue, Quezon City.